So why don't you just start by introducing yourself and what you do?
My name is Dan Ernst, and I own Grand Central Music here in San Luis Obispo, and I play guitar in the band The JD Project and with Donna Liu and Matthew Kim and a few other people. So guitar player and business owner, musician.
All right. And how long have you been performing, working musician in SLO County?
Since about 1988. 87, 88, I was in a band that was called Dr. Jones. It was very popular. College band. It was my first year in college. And we were playing places like Sweet Springs and college parties. And it was a lot of fun, actually. I probably played more than I did study, but it was a good time. Yeah.
And how has your pursuits in the industry changed up until now?
So actually in the industry, it's always been, the playing's always been for fun. When I was younger, I had ideas that maybe, get big or go somewhere, but mostly I played in cover bands. Only it was later on when I started playing in original bands. But the business part of it for me has always been the music store part, the lesson parts and stuff like that. So playing has been for fun pretty much the whole time, and then the business part is the instruments and the lessons.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you keeping more of the, when you're performing, it sounds like you try and keep more of a separation between the fun side and the business side of yourself?
Well, that's an interesting question because it is a fine line, kind of. So when I was going to school and not owning or working at a music store, I get done with my day and I go home and play my guitar for hours. That's what I love to do. Now, when I started working at a music store, before I owned it, I worked there for about 8 years, and I would go home and kind of shy away from the guitar. I would do my band practice or gigs or whatever. So it is a blurred line between what those two as far as business. When we do perform, we do take it as a business. I guess we probably charge. We try to charge accordingly for the gigs that we play. So we do take it as a business as far as that part goes. But as far as business being, we're going to promote our band and put all this effort in and trying to be this and that, we as a whole band collectively take this as a fun project.
You're talking about with the JD
The
project?
JD project, correct.
And you guys have built quite a reputation for your name too, that I can see. How have you managed to do that while not being heavily focused on the business side?
Interesting. Well, we've been around for 17 years, and the band that was before the JD Project was a band called Itchy McGurk, which was a short-lived but fairly successful band that went out on tour. They toured with the Blues Travelers. They did a lot of work. And so when Itchy McGurk broke up, there was a gap, and then I wasn't in Itchy McGurk, but the bass player and the lead singer, keyboard player were in Itchy McGurk. When they broke up and quit, we started playing together as another band, still doing some of those Itchy tunes and writing some of our own new tunes and then doing some of the same covers and bringing in new covers. So transition period-wise, there was a lot of Cal Poly students still that were around that knew Itchy, that liked it, that had stayed in the area. And then just as far as like that transition was helpful, but we concentrated on playing better gigs. We concentrated on being different, where our band is probably more known for doing different styles of music. You can come see us do from country to rock to blues to rap to pop.
With JD Project?
Yeah, compared to a lot of other bands where they're a reggae band or a blues band. So that variety, I think people like. And I think we have a very kind of a special live presence to us when we play live. There's a lot of energy that we feel, and I think the audience feels it too.
So you've played with a lot of musicians over the years in the area.
Yeah, so quite a few. When I was in college and until about the mid '90s, I probably would go out and jam with different people, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and played a lot. And then always pretty much had a band and did a little bit of stuff where we went to San Francisco and played and other places, but mostly it's just been around here. Now we play mostly wineries, some weddings, private parties, city concerts, more event style, not really like the bar scene or that kind of thing.
With the venues that you've worked with, what's been your experience over the years on the handling the performances and the business side?
Well, it's always you know, if you're a band and you're in a venue, you're there to make them money, and that's a good question. Maybe elaborate a little bit more on the question as far as the venue.
Have you had a good working relationship with the venues here in County?
I believe so. Yeah. I mean, we've played Slow Brew, not the new Slow Brew, but we played them, and we opened up for the Fix and Band of Heathens and lots of other touring bands. Usually, like those kind of places, we do an opening act of just our original music. Mother's Tavern, we had a long run with them, several years of. We were on about every 6-week program, that was a great venue. We had a great relationship with them. Then they turned to DJs. Venue-wise, like most of our venues have been like the city concerts. So like we played for the Concert Center Plaza the last 13 years. We didn't get it this year, but you know it was a good run. But that's a lot of what our venues have been. We have a great relationship with like Bill Gaines Audio, who does a lot of the shows around here. We have a great relationship with Rich Rolson, and who does a lot of the shows around here. But as far as like venues, I have only a little bit of experience playing at Slow Brew the Rock recently, as some of the newer venues around here. Frog and Peach, I like to play that place, but we haven't done it for a while. It's kind of a late night, but yeah, I mean, those kind of venues are cool. I don't think that like another place actually we just played to was a really nice venue, was the Siren, Morro Bay. Nice people out there, nice professional stage, good sound, good lighting. So that was cool. They asked us to come back, so.
Yeah, they've definitely put a lot into the space for the musicians out there, and do you think that contributes to the working relationship when the venue is putting that much into the music as the musicians?
Yeah, I mean, it sure enhances the experience and the performance. You know, it's kind of interesting that, like you're from back east, and I've had some experience back east. And back east, every band traveled, cover band or not, with full lights and full sound rig and everything. And out here, it's rare to see a band come out with a lighting rig even. And to have a venue to have a professional lighting rig and a good sound system and a good stage and a good monitor mix and a good dance floor and everything like that, really, it just enhances the experience, makes it better for the musicians. They're probably going to perform at a higher level, makes the experience for the customer better because they can dance, it sounds good, looks good, exciting and stuff like that. So definitely, if more venues did that, I think more venues would have success.
When you're working with the venues from a musician side, what do you think is important to put into that relationship, working with the venue?
Like I said, you know, they're hiring you to make them money. So for the venue, so for us to promote ourselves as much as possible, to bring a performance that's gonna that people are gonna remember. You have to bring it to the table when you're performing, and if you're someplace hires you and you've got to do your best. You have to, like I said, promote, get the people there, put on a good show, play. Don't take excessive long set breaks. With the JD project, we typically don't take a set break. We play straight through. We played the Siren. And we just played 8:30 to 11:30, and just straight through. It's just easier once we get going. I think also when you have set breaks, a lot of times you'll see the crowd thin out. You don't give them a set break, thin out. Sometimes we'll run into an issue where someone has to use the restroom or something like that, right? And then our keyboard player will maybe sit there and play and sing a song, or maybe he'll run off and we'll do an extended guitar solo or something like that, you know. But we just try to keep that going. I think that's something that we bring to the table that maybe other bands don't as much, that might be bringing something more for the venue.
And with so many musicians around here working, that's a lot to, there's so many variables to consider like that with what the musician can bring to the table, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Do you think that such a strong variety in the area, how do you think that affects the working relationship between venues and musicians on the whole?
Strong variety
of musicians in the area, and they're all bringing a different package to the table each time. And
I would imagine from the venue side, because I do talk to some of them sometimes, that they have better working relationships with some bands than other bands, and that might be because of what the individual expectations are. I'm still a little bit ambiguous about the question exactly.
With so many musicians in the area, and that if they're going to get hired by a venue,
okay.
and like you said, the JD project brings a really full package with these extra things that you're considering about, such as playing through normal set times and keeping the crowd engaged, which may or may not be from what every musician is bringing to the table.
Right.
When a venue has so much to consider like that, with so many musicians and so many different packages that the musicians are bringing to the table, how do you think that big variety that the venue has to consider, how does that affect the relationship between you as a musician trying to work with the venue and back and forth?
Yeah, I mean, with the amount of musicians and the variety of different musicians that are out there, definitely the venues have a wide selection to pick from. And being a business owner myself, I'm going to guess that usually the ones that they're picking are the ones that are making them the most money, costing them the least amount of money, and being professional and doing what the band says they're going to do. Because what does the band say? Hey, let me play your place. I'm going to fill it with people. You're going to sell lots of tickets and beers and booze or whatever, and you're going to make money. So I think like the venues have, like they could have the Tipsy Gypsies and have it, you know, that's one great group of that style of music, or they could have Resonation. That's another, you know. So I think that, you know, the venues have a lot that they can take advantage of, and that there's a lot of talented people out there. Some better at promoting themselves than others, you know. But I think that definitely that the venues have a lot of they've got a lot of choices of some really good bands, so it should be advantageous to them quite a bit. And for the musicians to put themselves in a situation where the venues want to hire them, there again, you've got to bring something to the table that's going to bring them money, because this whole thing is all about the bottom dollar. Unfortunately, I play music because I love it, but these venues, they want to make their money. The bands, they want to make their money, and so it's really a business thing.
Do you ever feel that the venues can kind of have the upper hand or take advantage of such big saturation that some might see?
You know, I think in that scenario that maybe you're referring to like pay.
Mostly, and the business is where we're coming down to is compensation.
Compensation, yeah. I would definitely say that the venues have an upper hand in a sense, as they have the choice, but so does the bands. So in our scenario, we have a set rate that we charge, and if the venue doesn't want to pay that, we move on. And most of our deals, like I said, are wineries, private parties, and stuff like that. Anything that we would do for, like, say, a slow brew or something like that, we just do it. Like, I think last time we played, we opened for the Fix, and I think we did it for $200 and a meal each or something like that. So it was more for the experience, good time, nice, you know, playing with a big band from when I was growing up. You know, that's...
So kind of over the years, of you working as a musician, you've developed your plan, your business plan. It sounds like, and you have it set to different venues, right?
Well, like I said, we work from a set rate, and typically what you have to do is fit the band to the event or the venue. So venue can have both. Like there's the and so that they have the choice to either say no, we don't want to pay that much, or I'll say okay, hey, well, when you have an event that's bigger where you're expecting something that be like dancing and that kind of thing, compared to like, hey, we're just having a wine pickup party, we just need some background noise. Well, maybe the JD Project's not exactly the best band for that, plus it's more than they want to pay, you probably want a duo. So matching up the gig to the venue to the band is important. And I think that's something like where other wineries before have asked us to play, seen us somewhere, and we said, okay, here's our rate. And they're like, oh, like I said, it's just like a pickup party. So, hey, I understand, but when you have your big blowout party for Wine Fest or Zen Fest, call us up then. And we've had them call us up, and we've played it for them. They've been successful on their end, and they've had us back. So that's, again, I think that if the musician keeps in mind that these people want to make money, just like you want to make money, set the rates that you feel comfortable playing for. I know a lot of people out there complain a lot about what they are forced to pay for. They're giving all the power to the venues. You have worked your hard. We all have worked as musicians many hours of practicing to get to a point where you're a performing musician, right? That is, you can't put $20 an hour on it. You can't put $50 on it. You can't put $1,000 on it. It is what it is. It's priceless. What you have to decide is how much you're willing to go out there. If it ends up being $20 or whatever, and then that's it. If you're not willing to do it, don't do the gig. Move on. Find a place. Leave the door open with them. Hey, I understand this gig is not going to work for us. I'm too much. But if down the road you need me at some kind of other event and this is what we're good at, let us know.
So it sounds like you're very aware about what the venue needs and what you can provide as a band, and where is the line in the sand about what you can accept as a band, and how you still continue to approach your relationship with the venues. Do you think that's a common thing amongst the working musicians around here to have that level of awareness?
With some, but if you talk to a lot of the people that I do in my position, I've heard them talk about having a musicians union around here and different things. Some people do get it, some people don't. I think more so people who are maybe business owners, or maybe have been doing this for a long time and have had different experiences and seen places that try to make it with live music but don't do it right, and don't, and unfortunately they don't make it. So I think some people do. I think some people don't. I think that if you're more inclined to maybe think that way, I see the people who seem to feel like they know what they're doing, they're there to make the place money. Those people are working. They're working a lot. And the other people I think feel like they're getting cheated, and they're playing gigs for what they don't think it's worth, and that's where it is. I believe it's a personal line that you have to say, okay, I'm willing to do this, or I'm not willing to do this, and then stick with it, and have fun. This is, it's supposed to be. This is supposed to be the funnest thing to it. There's so much business to it, and I understand that, but. If you're not having fun playing gigs at a venue and they're not paying what you want, and you don't like the guy, it's whatever. It's just time to move along, But yeah, it's important, I think, to know what the venues need and what they expect and what they want. So
you mentioned the hot topic of a musicians union that's kind of been floating around the area. Do you think that would help this relationship between musicians and the venues, or how do you think that might play out if it gets explored?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. there's probably people who are willing to join a union. There's probably people who are not willing to join a union. You have venues that probably, for the most part, would say we're a non-union house.
It's an interesting aspect, yeah.
And here, there's plenty of people who are out there that are willing to play. And so, I don't know. I wouldn't want to discourage a union if it was what is best for the musicians. I don't have a crystal ball to see. All I want is the best for musicians. I mean, that's my livelihood and stuff. But it's really hard to say. I don't know. Are you for it? I'll put you on the spot.
I'm interested in hearing what people think it would have to offer. I wouldn't want to discount either way, because I think if the music industry can get any more organized, I think that it's, in general, that should help. But ultimately, it would come down to how the people are going to treat it that are in it, and they were talking. There's so much variation about how different musicians approach the business of music, and that's an area that is, for it to work, it would have to be very much unified, or on some kind of level of the same page, and that part I don't know either.
Have you heard pros and cons from people?
Basically, about a pro for the musician could be setting a set rate for venues. From what I've heard, as of far, I haven't quite heard of anybody thinking about the cons, like you mentioned about the venues could consider, non-union or what. But my interest right now is having this conversation. So that way I want to promote all the musicians and all the venues communicating more and having a more open relationship.
You're experiencing problems with the venues?
I'm hearing. I'm hearing, and I haven't. Let me think. I haven't with my musical projects. I haven't experienced a bad anything negative or volatile. But I've noticed a change, for example, in a lot of venues, say, wanting to lower the pay rate and then offer extra drinks or something as compensation, and that I don't see how that's going to help the bands or the venue to do that kind of thing. Because it seems like you're just going to end up with more inebriated musicians, and it's not going to contribute well to a show. So I can totally understand the venues thinking about their bottom line, and they want to get the best show for the least cost. That's just business.
Right.
But I would like to, personally, I think it'd be nice if we could have this relationship more open, where the musicians are more upfront about what they need in a working relationship, and the venues are more upfront about what they're willing to accept from a musician, and the other way around. So the musicians know. I think we could, with such a vibrant scene here, I think the whole industry is going to benefit from stepping it up in the communication and what happens in this working relationship.
Sure,
here.
a mutual expectation.
Yes, yeah.
Do you mind saying what venues? I mean, I'm just curious because I think of venues. mine is constantly changing,
It's the bars.
The bars.
that are more tending to do that. Yeah.
And specifically in like SLO.
Yeah, and
North County,
South County, SLO in South County.
SLO.
A little bit in North County.
Yeah.
It's in the I find it coming up more in the negotiations where because with Explode the Machine, the band that I'm in, we try and have a set price
Yeah.
that we work from, and that is usually followed up more often now with, well, would you consider a heavier drink tab,
Yeah.
And so that is, that's why I bring up that example.
Mm-hmm.
Is it seems to be more of a negotiation tactic now.
Yeah.
Using drinks as compensation.
And same even like the wineries we play. So we have our set price. They'll say, okay, hey, we'll give you this much, but then we'll give you each, we'll give you cases of wine, and that's worth X amount of dollars, and that gets you to your, gets you to the number that you want, our number. Yeah, it's interesting. Those venues I've played for years, but probably the last 8 years or so I haven't really played the bars. We probably played Frog and Peach 2 or 3 times, and in that situation, I knew we were getting $250 or $300 and with a $100 bar tab or something. The Siren we negotiated, and I negotiated early, and the people knew who we were, and so I said, hey, we don't really do this too often. We really like your place, and this is what we can do it for. And they said, okay, and it worked out. But still, it was quite a bit less than we usually charge. And besides that, playing any other bars, it's really, I haven't been in that scenario for quite a while. When we played Mother's Tavern on a regular basis was really when we had our stint of playing at the bars. We took the door. And on some nights we'd make $1,200, $1,400. It was just kill it. But that was the arrangement we had with the bar. We also would keep the bar packed, and their booze was flowing like crazy, and they were very happy. And that's why they put us on a regular rotation. We were there for several years. But that's one of the ways that I think that if you want to try to have some negotiation with the bar and say, look, don't worry about the music. Don't worry about paying me. Let me put my own guy out there in front with a clicker, okay? And we'll charge to get in. Now, so if you're going to do that, you want to make sure that bar is not going to end up not full at that night. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You'll have one chance of doing that, and if you don't pack the bar, then that whole idea not going to work. So you've got to bring you got to bring everything. You do all your promotion. You got to make sure you got everything going, and then if they say, okay, well, no, I don't want to do that, then you have to deal with what they want to do. But that's a possibility of saying, okay, hey, bar, just sell the drinks. We'll have a small cover and the more that we'll just take the door. And I think what $3 cover, $4 cover, you get 200 people in there, $800 makes the night worth it.
Yeah.
And then the bar's happy because they've got 200 people in their bar drinking like crazy. Hopefully drinking like crazy for them.
Yeah.
But I get it. We do a lot of negotiation, but most of our negotiation is with wineries, event coordinators, private people, and then so yeah, that's interesting. Whenever I kind of just take it for granted, if we're going to play something like the Frog and Peach, it's going to be no pay. So that's another thing too, I guess, is that besides just the bar scene, there's so many other venues out there.
I was just gonna bring up. the more I talk to musicians in the area, especially ones that have had experience here, that the more successful ones are the ones that can find a stronger niche around what they do with their music here. Would you agree or no?
Yeah, you got to be different, and you've got to, I went to this sound school with Hartley Peavy from Peavy Electronics, and he just said, man, and I've always believed it after that. He's like, if you want to be better, you got to be different. So striving, I mean, I don't necessarily mean like putting on a costume or something like that, but something that you can strive for your shows, or something in what, the music or something that just sets you aside. It's and hard, hard work. Working together as a band. I think that shows a lot too. Like we've been together for 17 years, but the keyboard player and I've been playing together for about 25, and the bass player and I've been playing for over 35 years together. So we still have this musical thing that keeps us together, and I think if you find that and it works, people are going to feel it when you play, But
definitely a lot that the musician can do to bring their best game to the table. Right. What advice do you give to the musicians around here about how they can step up their game?
Practice. Take lessons. I still take lessons. Music is you never will master it. We can all spend hours and hours and hours, and then find people that you work well with, and try to be different. Try to produce something good. It's so hard because some people are naturally really gifted at music, and some people are not, and some people work really hard and have gotten really far with music. But sometimes people make music and it's good, but it's not going to be something that is going to be pleasing to everyone or in a general area. So like if you're, so a heavy metal band probably is not going to do very well down at Concerts Plaza, San Luis Obispo. You know what I mean? There again is finding where your music fits for the venue. So I don't know. It's really tough. I would say do it, have fun, and because you want to have fun and you love it, and that will hopefully come out too in the performances and in your music that you make. And I think sometimes like some of the things with bands that I think is a good thing to do is with a lot of these all original bands disregard cover songs. I think that cover songs are great. I mean, you don't have to do them note for note, but if you get the song down to gist, and in a live situation, it really ties people to it, especially if a song is tied to your style of music. I think that's one thing that can help some bands that are trying to get out there and build a following and get their music heard. Playing other people's music too. But that's what we do. We play covers and originals, and we have a lot of both. And I think that really helps being palatable like that to a wide array of people. Mm-hmm. So.
And from the other side, what do you think that the venues can do to contribute to a better industry, music industry, and better relationships between the venues and the musicians?
I think if a lot of the venues could take a good look at the siren and learn a lot. I think that the places I've seen around here that the stages are rickety and the lighting systems not there, or one thing works or whatever, or the sound system's hokey or whatever. Man, if it looks good and sounds good, people are going to come. And if you can ensure that it's going to look good and sound good as much as you can, as far as like you have the venue has a lighting system there and it works and people know how to work it, and there's a sound system there that sounds good and that will consistently sound good with different bands using it. So that usually means having a sound guy, right? those kind of things would really, I think venues could learn a lot from. Consistently having a good sound guy, consistently having good sound, and good lighting. And some of the places do, and some of the places don't, But I think that definitely the venues can do that. And maybe even like the venues talking to the people when they hire them and say, look, this is a business. We're here to make money. We want you to have a good time. We want you to have a good time. But this is the bottom line, is the bottom dollar. And I think if bands were more business orientated with that, they might have more success with relationships with the venues. And if they make the people money, then they're going to be working. That's a fact, right?
So everybody just being more upfront and open and.
Well, yeah, I think the mutual expectation kind of comments is it kind of sets it forth. As like I think both sides, as we have this conversation, and I've been exploring this because I really haven't thought much about this. I've had to break down the venues and stuff like that, but I think that both sides, as we looked at this and talked about it, and I see where you're at, they're just not communicating as well as they could be. In fact, bands are expecting this, venues are expecting this, but the expectations aren't being shared and then figured out. I think, like you said earlier, some of the older bands and stuff, and some of the bands or whatever have figured it out. Like we understand when we do something, like I said, it's Bronco Beach. We're going to play for $200, $300, whatever it is. That's the expectation that we have. They have the same expectation. We're expected to bring them music, keep people drinking, partying. We're expecting that much money from them. There's no letdown expectations at the end of the day. I don't know if going back to what we talked about, if a union would do that, but maybe an advocate. And at least that would be a place, I think, to start. And there's a lot of people involved with that. I think Todd Newman is involved with that kind of stuff, and other.
Of Good Medicine.
Of Good Medicine, yeah, Todd and Corey, and we work with them occasionally. They are involved with lots of venues around here, but some kind of advocate could really, could help a lot. Like that music comm thing, something like that, where you can get the venue people together and the musician people together and kind of say, okay, this is about business, making money. This is what you're supposed to do as a musician, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is what we're expecting. Okay, here, now we're all on the same page. Let's go forward. But
and we all can benefit.
In the idealistic world.
Any final thoughts for the scene around here?
It's, the one thing that I have to say is that it's saturated. And I love the fact that there's so many venues and so many bands and so much everything, but it's, I remember being 5, 10 things to do on a weekend. Now it's 30, 40, 50, I don't know, things to do on a weekend. So I think it hurts a little bit because there's the same amount of people going out, and so each venue might be getting a little less than they're normally getting, and that's less money going into their pockets, less likely to hire the bands back if they can't make the money to hire the bands. So I see the saturation point being great because there's so much work, but I see it having maybe effects where like I've played some really nice wineries where they're a little bit farther out, Paso, and there are 35 other gigs that weekend, and they have 50 people when they're expecting 200. A winery can't do that too many times when they're paying us, and they've got a caterer, and they've got whatever, So that's a little bit of a concern that I think of as far as the saturation point. But it's good to have a lot of work out there too. So, I enjoyed the interview. I thought interesting topic to talk about, and good luck with keep exploring and stuff. I'd be interested to see how it all comes about.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I'm excited too. Well, Dan Ernst, thanks a lot. I appreciate you talking with me. Owner of Grand Central Music in SLO, as well as guitarist with JD Project.
Yep.
Well, keep on rocking. Good luck with everything.
All right. Thanks.
What you do makes a difference.